Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Yo, we're gonna take you inside Nas's farm to show you how he's living, coming from Queensbridge all the way to a global icon. You must see this video. This is for the young people out there and the elders trying to get into the game, to let you know, if you stay the course and stop the crap, that this is what you can get. All right? You know what it is, Unique Mecca Audio. Check out my channel. This is what we're doing, just so you can understand. I want you to see how Nas is living right now from hip-hop, so you could actually go from the projects to this.
Under the wide Georgia sky, where the air smells faintly of fresh hay and morning dew, stands a farm that's anything but ordinary. This isn't your average countryside getaway. It's the private sanctuary of hip-hop royalty, Nas. But don't be fooled by the tranquility. Every fence post, every blade of grass here is backed by a story. Stories of survival, ambition, and a career that redefined hip-hop. To understand how Nas went from Queensbridge rooftops to owning this southern slice of paradise, and that journey starts long before the farm gates, back in the gritty streets where a young Nasir Jones first learned how to turn struggle into poetry.
I want y'all to really pay attention to this, because this is what you call a real success story, and that's what we after here at Unique Mecca Audio, to make success stories. All right?
In the shadow of the brick towers, Nasir bin Oludara Jones was born on September 14, 1973. His father, Oludara, was a jazz musician. His mother, Fanny Ann Jones, a postal worker. Music and hard work were in his blood, but so were the sounds of sirens, street corner hustles, and the unfiltered reality of life in the projects. As a kid, Nas was more of a street scholar than a classroom one. At 13, he dropped out of school, but that wasn't the end of his education. It was the beginning of a different kind. He immersed himself in the culture of hip-hop, absorbing beats, rhymes, and life lessons from the streets. His brother, Jabari Jungle Jones, introduced him to the rap battles happening in Queens, and it wasn't long before Nas's raw storytelling set him apart. The turning point came in 1991, when he appeared on Main Source's track Live at the Barbecue. His verse was electric, sharp, confident, and poetic. It was the first crack in the door to the music industry. Then, in 1994, at just 20 years old, Nas released Illmatic. Critics...
See, that's what I'm saying. In 1994 is when I went to trial on June 17th, and on September 15th, I was sentenced to life plus 20. So I missed Nas's whole run. So that's why I wanted to take my time. I wanted to watch this with you so we could see how Nas did it. Maybe we could come up with a master Nas plan. All right?
It's called it a masterpiece. The New York Times labeled him the poet of hip-hop, and Rolling Stone hailed it as one of the greatest rap albums ever made. For a kid from Queensbridge, this was a coronation. But the road wasn't all red carpets and platinum plaques. The mid to late 90s saw Nas navigating label politics, a bitter feud with Jay-Z, and shifting trends in hip-hop.
Who do you think won between Nas and Jay-Z? Put it in the comments. Who do you think won between Nas and Jay-Z?
In 2001, the tension exploded into the legendary diss track Ether, a lyrical nuke that not only reignited his career, but cemented his place in rap history. The feud ended years later with mutual respect, but by then, Nas had proven he was untouchable. Beyond the mic, Nas was learning another game, the business game.
Y'all pay attention to this, because this is what this is about. Oh, make sure you subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel, Juanita Mecca Audio, Unique Mecca Audio, Prison Stories, Fire Prison Stories.
He invested in startups, tech companies, and real estate.
I ain't know this one. Listen.
By the 2010s, while other artists were fading, Nas was cashing in on deals with companies like Ring, later bought by Amazon, and Coinbase.
Did you know that Nas owned a percentage of Ring? Somebody put it in the comments, man.
His business instincts were as sharp as his rhymes, and it was this dual identity, artist and entrepreneur, that began shaping the lifestyle he lives today. In the 2020s, Nas didn't slow down. He won his first Grammy in 2021 for King's Disease, a reminder that even after nearly 3 decades, his voice still mattered. And while the industry evolved, streaming, social media, new sounds, Nas remained relevant by staying true to his roots while embracing change. It's this mix of grit, adaptability, and vision that led him far from the crowded hallways of Queensbridge to the wide-open spaces of Decatur, Georgia. Decatur Farm, where hip-hop meets country. And speaking of that farm, let's open the gates and see what makes Nas's Southern Sanctuary such a unique chapter in his story. The first thing you notice as you pull up the long driveway is the sheer size. Nas's Decatur Farm sits on multiple acres of lush, rolling land, somewhere between a countryside escape and a music mogul's dream playground. The main house is an elegant yet laid-back Southern-style home, painted in soft earth tones with wide porches that practically beg you to sit down with a glass of sweet tea. And no, this isn't some weekend getaway. This is a fully operational property, complete with stables, garden plots, and a barn that looks like it belongs in a coffee table book. Step inside, and the vibe is an instant surprise. The interior doesn't scream celebrity excess. Instead, it's warm, lived in, and surprisingly functional. Hardwood floors flow through spacious rooms filled with art, some from his travels, some from up-and-coming black artists he's personally supported. The living room is anchored by an oversized sectional couch big enough to seat an entire recording crew, with floor-to-ceiling windows framing the endless Georgia greenery. The kitchen? Let's just say it's the kind of place that could convince even a New Yorker to learn Southern recipes. High-end appliances blend seamlessly with rustic farmhouse details. Think reclaimed wood beams, copper pots, and a massive island where Nas apparently experiments with recipes he picks up from friends or chefs he's worked with. Outside, the farm becomes its own universe. There's a vegetable garden that could feed a small village, rows of fruit trees, and a chicken coop that feels more like a luxury resort for hens. Horses roam the pastures, and somewhere on the property, there's a fishing pond where Nas is rumored to disappear for hours. Just him, the water, and probably a beat looping in his head.
Can you believe that Nas is chilling like this from coming from the projects and doing hip-hop? And you think you got to carry a guard you now and run around harming your neighbors? Come on, man. Let's ride.
But make no mistake, this isn't about playing farmer. For Nas, the Decatur Farm is part wellness retreat, part creative sanctuary. He's known to host intimate jam sessions on the porch, morning workouts on the lawn, and yes, occasional BBQ cookouts where industry friends like DJ Khaled or Rick Ross might just show up unannounced. It's the kind of place that flips the script on what hip-hop luxury looks like. No neon city lights, no crowded club booths, just wide-open skies, homegrown produce, and a sense of peace that's priceless. Of course, this isn't the only place he's called home. For a different side of Nas, the one that still loves the energy of the city, we need to head north, to a property that offers pure urban luxury. Calabasas Mansion, the West Coast crown jewel.
Now, this is his second house in Calabasas, California, all from hip-hop in the projects.
In November 2021, Nas made a move that blended luxury with lifestyle, spending $3.5 million on a sprawling 10-acre estate in Calabasas, California. It's not just a house, it's a West Coast statement piece, where every corner whispers both comfort and prestige. Push open the double doors and you're immediately met with the quiet authority of 10-foot ceilings, alder doors crowned with clerestory windows, and limestone floors that feel cool and solid underfoot. Natural light pours in from every angle, bathing the rooms in a warm California glow. The home's custom build means every detail is purposeful, from the flow of space to the choice of finishes, making it feel like a personal retreat rather than a cookie-cutter mansion. The library and living room invite you to sink into their comfort, with limestone fireplaces flickering in the background. In the kitchen, granite countertops gleam under recessed lighting, framing top-tier Viking appliances and a generous center island. A butler's pantry stands ready for larger gatherings, where entertaining is more than an option. It's a lifestyle. And yes, there's a private wine cellar for those nights when conversation stretches long past midnight. Step outside, and the estate transforms into a personal playground. The backyard is built for hosting. A built-in BBQ, a spa, a fire pit for late-night talks, and a grotto-style pool complete with a waterfall and a twisting water slide that turns even the most sophisticated guest into a kid again. From the rooftop deck, the Santa Monica Mountains stretch endlessly, painting sunsets worthy of an album cover. When it's time to wind down, the master suite takes luxury to another level. Perched on the top floor, it features a sauna, a deep-soaking tub, 2 walk-in closets, an adjoining gym, and a private balcony, perfect for watching the day melt into night. The extras? An elevator for effortless movement, an 8-car garage for a growing collection, an indoor-outdoor surround sound system, security cameras, multi-zone climate control, and a water filtration system. It's not just a home, it's a finely tuned ecosystem for living well. And speaking of style, Naz's sense of taste doesn't end with architecture. Step outside the garage and you'll find another expression of his personality. Sleek, powerful, and built to turn heads. Car collection. From East Coast grit to West Coast luxury, every vehicle reflects a piece of his personality, his taste, and his memories. Cadillac Escalade. The King's Chariot. For Nas, the Cadillac Escalade isn't just a ride, it's a moving throne. Big, bold, and unapologetically American, this full-size SUV became his go-to for touring the country in comfort. He first took the wheel on a rainy night in New York, the kind where the city lights bounce off the wet pavement like 1,000 tiny flashbulbs. Inside, the plush leather seats wrapped around him, the Bose sound system thumped to his own tracks, and the quiet hum of the V8 engine made the chaos outside feel a world away. This is the car he trusts for family trips, late-night studio runs, and pulling up to events when he wants to arrive not just in style, but with presence. BMW M3, the street poet's sports car. Then there's the BMW M3, but not just any M3. Nas's is a striking custom purple, a color as rare on the streets as his lyrical talent is in hip-hop. The first time he drove it was along the Pacific Coast Highway, the sun sinking into the ocean while the inline-6 engine purred like a well-fed cat. Light on its feet but packed with precision engineering, the M3 is his outlet for pure driving pleasure. He's been spotted behind the wheel with friends from the industry, laughing and trading stories as the car hugs tight curves with German confidence. It's a performance machine, sure, but for Nas, it's also a reminder that sometimes success means allowing yourself a little flair. 1988. AMG Mercedes 190E, a Legends classic. If the Escalade is about dominance and the M3 is about style, the 1988 AMG Mercedes 190E is about heritage. This isn't just a vintage car, it's a piece of motorsport history, a machine revered for its role in touring car racing.
All right, stop the crap. None of that got to do with car racing when he brought it. He brought it because in 1988, the car of choice when he was growing up for drug dealers was the 190 Mercedes-Benz, You know, and you had the 190 and you had the 190E was the little boy. But you had the racing one and then you had the M3. So that was the Mercedes and that was the BMW. I had the Army, what's the Army green? I had like the grayish green M3 with the bubbled windows on the side, you know, the racing windows to keep the wind from blowing in your face when the window's down, you know, 5 speed, you know what I mean? Had the blow pump equalizer in it, you know, with the blow pump radio. You know, this before Alpine and all that blew up. And we had the Harman Kardon amp in the back. Y'all remember the Harman Kardon amps in the back? And let's not forget the gooseneck, you know, equalizer. Y'all know what I'm talking about from the old school. But all Nas did was capture what he couldn't get when he was younger. Now that he's an adult, and that's how you build a classic car collection. Now, let's keep it moving.
Nas found his in pristine condition, the kind of find that makes collectors' eyes widen. The first time he drove it was through the quiet back roads of Calabasas, the analog steering offering a level of feedback that modern cars can't replicate. The leather smells richer, the gear shifts feel more deliberate, and the engine's growl is pure, unfiltered 1980s engineering. He's careful with this one, never a daily driver, always a weekend reward. When Nas pulls his out of the driveway, you're not just watching a rap icon, you're watching a man who turned street poetry into an empire worth more than $80 million by 2025. Income and net worth. It's a figure built not just on music, but on a lifetime of smart plays. One of the biggest came in the form of an investment check. Small compared to his concert paydays at the time, but monumental in hindsight. In 2014, Nas backed a little-known home security startup called Ring. When Amazon acquired Ring for over $1 billion, his stake delivered a windfall that made headlines and cemented his status as one of hip-hop's sharpest business minds.
Do you know how much percentage he had of Ring and what was his cut of Ring? Like, we remember, right? Don't forget, we ride. Because remember when 50 Cent did the vitamin water or whatever it was, and they said he wound up making $400 million. How much you think Nas made? Somebody put in the comments if you know, so that we can enlighten the younger people to know this is a good role model to follow in the rap industry. You know, he made a bad move with the chick Khalees, the way she hit him. I think he was giving like $60,000 a month. I didn't even know he was making that kind of money. When I saw that the judge ordered him to give $60 million a month or $30 million, 30,000, 60, whatever it is, y'all put in the comment what Khalees was raping him for. Let's keep it moving.
But the foundation for all of this started back in 1994 with Illmatic. The album didn't explode commercially at first, but Nas had the foresight to negotiate for ownership of his masters, a move most young artists never considered. That meant every time The World Is Yours played in a movie trailer or NY State of Mind hit streaming charts, the checks came directly to him, year after year. It's the kind of residual income that quietly builds wealth while you sleep. Touring was his next gold mine. In the late 90s and 2000s, Nas's shows weren't just concerts. They were cultural events. Fans lined up not only for tickets, but for the merch booths, where limited edition gear could sell out before the opening act finished their set. A single international tour could pull in millions, and Nas treated every run as an opportunity to reinvest rather than just celebrate. Then came Queensbridge Venture Partners, his venture capital firm. Through it, Nas has invested in more than 100 companies, from tech giants like Dropbox and Coinbase to lifestyle brands that align with his personal style.
Pay attention.
Some deals paid out quickly, others continue to grow, feeding into a portfolio that's as diverse as his discography. And Nas hasn't ignored the more traditional celebrity revenue streams. Endorsements with Hennessy gave him not only a lucrative contract, but a brand association that fits seamlessly into his image. Acting gigs, documentary appearances, and high-end product collaborations brought in additional millions, each one strengthening his presence outside the music industry. Put it all together, and you understand why Nas can own sprawling estates in both Decatur and Calabasas, why he can collect cars that range from nostalgic classics to cutting-edge luxury SUVs, and why he can turn down opportunities that don't align with his vision. His money isn't just for show, it's a tool for freedom, for building a life on his own terms. And perhaps that's the most powerful part of Nas's wealth. Every dollar carries the story of a decision, a risk, or a moment where he chose the long game over the quick win. Which brings us to another side of that decision-making, a side less about profit and more about purpose. His work in giving back. Philanthropy. His philanthropy isn't the flashy red carpet type. It's deliberate, rooted in the belief that opportunity, once given, should be paid forward. One of the most striking examples came in 2010 with the release of Distant Relatives, his collaborative album with Damian Marley. This wasn't just a musical experiment blending hip-hop and reggae, it was a mission. Nas pledged all royalties to charities working in Africa, funding projects that ranged from building schools and improving healthcare access to developing sustainable farming initiatives. It wasn't just about writing a check. It was about leveraging his art to support communities whose stories often go unheard, connecting the Bronx streets he came from to the villages and cities of the African continent. His commitment to the next generation of artists runs deep, and nowhere is that clearer than in his work with Patone's Records. As a spokesperson and advisor, Nas champions this non-profit after-school music program aimed at urban youth. Here, kids who might never have touched professional equipment are taught music production, songwriting, and the business side of the industry, all for free. For Nas, this isn't charity in the traditional sense, it's building pipelines of creativity, making sure the next Illmatic can come from anywhere, no matter the zip code. Then there was Art Basel 2011, when Nas did something entirely unexpected. He picked up a paintbrush. Performing live in Miami, he created a painting on stage, pouring the same raw energy into color and canvas that he usually channels into rhyme. When the artwork sold for $14,000, he quietly donated every dollar to an unnamed charity. No press release, no photo op, just a gesture that reflected his belief that giving back should be about the act, not the applause. Education has always been close to Nas's heart, perhaps because his own rise came from self-education, studying the world through music, books, and street life. In 2013, Harvard University honored him in a way few hip-hop artists could have imagined, by establishing the Nasir Jones Hip Hop Fellowship. Funded in part by his contributions, the fellowship supports scholars and artists exploring the cultural, political, and artistic impact of hip-hop. For Nas, it was proof that the genre often dismissed as street music had not only earned its place in academia, but could inspire serious intellectual discourse. These efforts, from African villages to Ivy League lecture halls, share a common thread. They're deeply personal. Nas's philanthropy reflects the same authenticity that defines his music, an unwillingness to forget where he came from, and a determination to uplift others in ways that create real, lasting change. It's this balance between profit and purpose that makes Nas not just a wealthy man, but a rich one in every sense of the word. And while the world knows him for his lyrical genius and business acumen, those closest to him know his greatest investments are the ones that don't show up on any balance sheet: family, community, and the people he's determined to see win alongside him. From here, we step away from the public stage and into the more intimate corners of his life, the personal world that keeps him grounded while the empire grows. Personal life. He became a father at just 20 years old. On June 15, 1994, his daughter Destiny was born, the child of his then-fiancée, Carmen Bryan. Destiny grew up in the public eye not only because of who her father was, but also because of the drama that would follow. Years later, Carmen admitted to having an affair with Jay-Z, Nas's greatest rap rival at the time, adding fuel to one of the most infamous feuds in hip-hop history.
What do y'all think about that feud and Carmen dealing with Jay-Z? Put it in the comments.
Over the years, Nas's love life has linked him to some of music's biggest names, including Mary J. Blige and Nicki Minaj. But it was his relationship with singer Kellis that made the biggest headlines. They married in 2005 in Atlanta after 2 years of dating, becoming one of hip-hop's most glamorous couples. Yet behind the scenes, cracks began to show. In April 2009, while 7 months pregnant, Kellis filed for divorce citing irreconcilable differences. Just 3 months later, on July 21, 2009, she gave birth to their son, Knight. The divorce was finalized in May 2010, but the drama didn't end there. In 2018, Kellis accused Nas of physical and emotional abuse during their marriage. Nas responded with his own allegations, claiming she was verbally and physically abusive toward him and had made it difficult for him to see their son. Both denied each other's accusations, but their relationship remained tense for years. Kellis eventually remarried and had another child, while Nas continued to co-parent Knight under challenging circumstances. Still, family ties have a way of pulling people back together. In June 2020, Nas reunited with Carmen Bryan for a family gathering celebrating Destiny's 26th birthday. It was a quiet reminder that, despite everything, family has always been central to his life. But personal challenges for Nas haven't been limited to relationships. They've also come in the form of legal and financial battles. In September 2009, the IRS filed a federal tax lien against him for over $2.5 million in unpaid taxes dating back to 2006. By 2011, that debt had swelled to more than $6.4 million. Things got so serious that in early 2012, the IRS filed paperwork to withhold a portion of his royalties from BMI and ASCAP until the bill was paid. For a man who had built his empire on smart moves and street smarts, it was a humbling reminder that even icons can get tangled in red tape. And then there was Angola. On New Year's Eve 2011, Nas was scheduled to perform in Luanda for a hefty $300,000 payday. But he never took the stage. The fallout was immediate and dangerous. American promoter Patrick Alaco and his son, who had arranged the show, were arrested at gunpoint by a furious local promoter and thrown into an Angolan prison. Though the U.S. Embassy intervened, the two were placed under house arrest in their hotel for 49 days. It was only after Nas repaid the entire $300,000 that they were allowed to return home. Because for Nas, life has always been about balance, balancing the legend with the man, the stage lights with the quiet moments, and the battles with the victories. And as we've seen, his story isn't just about beats and rhymes, it's about resilience. The same resilience that fuels his music, powers his business moves, and defines the way he lives his life today. And maybe that's the real takeaway. In a world obsessed with the next big thing, Nas proves that the greatest luxury is living life entirely on your own terms. So if you enjoyed this journey, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves a good story.
That's where we at right now, just so that you understand. We're in the house. That's about Nas. Make sure, like I said, you subscribe to my daughter's YouTube channel. I just wanted to do something different, just to let you see that we do win coming from the projects. And Nas is a perfect example of that. We definitely win coming from the projects. Look at this man. Look at the house he's living in. Come on, dog. I'm out of here.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime. Fresh out the
can of 26. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block. It's time to put a switch to the cops, Mecca audio.